Welcome to Hidden History of Rock and Roll with your host, Tiffany Scott. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hidden History of Rock and Roll.
Hello and welcome to Hidden History of Rock and Roll. I'm your host, Tiffany Scott. If you are new to my podcast, I do a deep dive into behind-the-scenes stories of rock's greatest legends, how they came to be, how the records got played, how the music came to be, and maybe some dirty little secrets if we are lucky. This is your all-access backstage pass. My next guest has a large body of work that could take up an entire episode to list. So I'm going to start this maybe with one breath. I don't know if I can do it. But he originated from Jacksonville, Florida. He's an American guitarist and vocalist. He's been a member of Mudcrutch, Blue Stingrays, and the iconic band Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers since 1976. He co-wrote many of the band's hits with Tom, including Refugee, Here Comes My Girl, You Got Lucky, and Runnin Down a Dream. Outside the Heartbreakers, he has worked as a session guitarist and songwriter with a number of incredible artists, including composing and playing on the Don Henley hits The Boys of Summer, Heart of the Matter, and as well as working on most of Stevie Nicks' solo albums. So, along with Neil Finn, he had joined Fleetwood Mac to replace the lead guitarist Lindsey Buckingham on their world tour in 2018 and 19. After the end of that tour, he has been involved in his own band, the iconic Dirty Knobs. He is a lead singer and guitarist, along with Lance Morrison on bass, Chris Holt on second guitar and keys, and fellow Heartbreaker Steve Ferrone on drums. As of 2024, the Dirty Knobs have released 3 albums. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002 as a member of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. In 2008, he and his wife became Tassie Fund co-presidents and created Rock the Dogs campaign. It was created to help raise money for Tassie Fund, as well as awareness of animal cruelty and neglect. He collaborated, recorded, and toured with Tom Petty for almost 50 years. His last live performance with the Heartbreakers was on September 25th, 2017, which I was there, and that was at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. Tom died unexpectedly 1 week later on October 2nd. And on a brighter note, he also just released his memoir, Heartbreaker. Please welcome to the show the multi-talented and iconic guitarist, Mike Campbell.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, how was that for a lead-in?
Pretty good. You make me feel old.
Oh, don't do that. I get that all the time. No, it's accomplished and amazing body of work that you have. It is an honor to have you on the show today. And I want to acknowledge your lovely wife who is with you today, Marcy Campbell. She is near and dear to my heart. You have been together for 49 years.
That's right. It's amazing.
I'm so excited. That's just wonderful. She's lovely, and just the normal noises in here is her signature line. She is your co-president on the Tassie Fund. She tours with you and the Dirty Knobs. You also have kids together, grandkids, and lots of dogs. Right?
That's right.
You and I have known each other since about 1977. I was just a little girl when we met, and my dad, John Scott, famously discovered the album Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in the closet of his new office at ABC Records. That was pretty interesting and an incredible story in itself. I've loved every song that you guys have ever put out. I love all the Dirty Knobs music. And I'm excited to talk to you today and get your behind the scenes and hidden history stories of your rock journey.
We have a nickname for your dad. You probably know what it is. Sizzling Memphis. Like he was sizzling. He was all over the place pushing our record and got us started.
He was. He was incredible and tenacious, and he didn't get discouraged by the infamous whiskey night when he came backstage and tried to talk to Tom in the band, and he didn't get discouraged. He said, you will remember my name. It's a great story. But I want to know, who inspired you early on to play music?
Well, lots of people. Elvis, my dad played Elvis and Johnny Cash records, and I soaked those up as a kid. And then, of course, I'm a child of the 60s, the Beatles and Stones, the Beach Boys, the Kinks. I was around for Chuck Berry, all that stuff. And that's what turned me on and made me want to be a musician.
Those are some iconic names. It was an iconic time.
Yeah.
Did you always want to play guitar?
Well, as soon as I saw the Beatles on TV, I wanted a guitar right away, which took me a while to get one. But once I got the guitar, all my other interests just faded away. That's all I cared about, kind of still today.
And how old were you when you knew that you were like, I'm going to have a career in music?
Well, a career? Well, I got my guitar at 16. I didn't see a career for 10 years later, I guess.
Wow.
I just, I love to play the guitar, and I hooked up with Tom in Florida. We had a band, and we had dreams and stuff, and then we came out to California, and it all exploded for us eventually. It's an amazing story.
How did you guys get hooked up, and what was your audition like? You auditioned, I'm assuming.
I got a farmhouse with drummer Randall Marsh from Mudcrutch, and I had seen a musician's ad at the university, a band looking for a drummer, which was Mudcrutch. And so I told Randall to invite them out to our house, and he could audition for them. And Tom came out with a couple of other people that were in the band, and they had just lost a guitar player. So Randall said, well, Mike's in the back. He plays guitar. You want to have him sit in with us? And we sat in and played Johnny Be Good, and it was all over from then on. That was it. We became brothers for the rest of our life.
Instantly. And I believe that Tom told that story on your last tour. I got to see you a couple times in that last tour, and he was telling that story. He was so proud and so honored to have you next to him. And I think he called you his co-pilot. Am I correct?
Co-pilot, yeah. I was the co-pilot. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
I deserve that title.
You do. You do. I mean, you're amazing, multi-talented. And that was the early days of Mudcrutch. Am I correct on that?
Yeah. Well, he didn't call me co-pilot until later in the Heartbreakers. But it just shows a side of Tom's humility that even though he was the leader of the band and basically the captain, that he showed respect for what I was contributing and just started calling me a co-captain.
That's amazing.
That's how close.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, there's not a better person to be close with. I knew him as a child, but he was like a father figure to me. And when we went through the disaster of my parents being in the hurricane in Kauai, he told me, I'm your godfather from now on. Anything you need, I'm here for you. He sent my parents generators from California. And I don't even know how that was happening back then in 1992, I believe it was. I mean, he was just an incredible person. And I'm sure it was evident in his playing and how the camaraderie that you guys had.
Yeah, he was and is. Yeah.
And tell us about the early days of Mudcrutch and how it morphed into Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I mean, when coming to California.
Okay. All this information will be available in my new book coming out this month.
It's already out.
Well, it's coming out, yeah. Maybe it's out. But Mudcrutch was a Florida group, rough and tumble. Except for Benmont, we were pretty much gypsies, homeless musicians living hand to mouth. Our first major job was working at a topless bar there in Gainesville. We played 5 sets a night. And that has some pretty funny stories, but that's how we got tight, playing there every night. And Mudcrutch grew around Gainesville. We finally made a demo. Long story short, came out to California, hooked up with Denny Cordell at Shelter Records and your dad to promote our first record. And it's pretty much a rags to riches story,
And you guys toured in the UK, in England?
One of our first, we did a few shows. Our first record didn't catch on right away in America. It got a little bit of a buzz in England, so Shelter put together a little tour for us to go over their opening for Nils Lofgren, I think in 1977, right when all the punk stuff was happening. And we went over and played there, and they liked us there. The press loved us, and that gave us a buzz. It spilled back over to the States. We came back, and with your dad's help, we kept pushing that first record and eventually got a few songs played on the radio here and there. And that's how it happened. Yeah, England was very romantic for us to go over there at that age. The Beatles and Stones, all that stuff that inspired us came from there. So we were excited to kind of feel some of that culture and live close to it. And I still like England.
Yeah, I'm sure it's near and dear to your heart. And do you have any memorable times, like touring in the early days, either UK, here?
Yeah, the early tour was on not even a string budget, a shoestring budget. It was worse than that. They gave us a bread truck. The band had a bread truck to drive around England to our gigs. And they put us up in these hotels. And like back then, we couldn't afford single rooms. So we would pair up. I paired up with Stanley most of the time. And Ron and Tom paired up. And Ben was odd man out. He had to room up with the tour manager. But I do remember it was really rough because it was cold there. And they would book us into these hotels that were freezing. And we would go in, and it would be so cold. We'd go in the bathroom and turn on the hot water first, let the steam build up a little bit in the room. And the walls were wet, and damp and musky and everything. And we paid our dues for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like it. I mean, if you're handed it, it's not the same. And if you're not, it gives you this whole new perspective and makes you really appreciate it, I'm sure.
Very wise of you, Tiffany.
I don't know where I got it.
we definitely were not handed anything. We had to work for it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we did. It made us tough and it made us good.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this slow build from even a child. I was raised around adults, and so I was never really treated as a child. And watching you guys grow, and that one time I think I saw you at the Forum and everybody's singing along and it's packed and it's like such an incredible experience. I was bawling, happy for you.
Yeah, it's a magical life and a career the Heartbreakers had. And we never took it for granted, but it was always like, we would look up, and 2 years before we were opening for the Jay Giles Band at a little club. And then now we're standing on the Forum, sold out for 3 nights, and people are singing our songs. And, we were always just looking at each other going, how did we get here? The music just kept us going, and so we hung on and just for life and rode that dream.
Yeah.
We're still riding it.
The music speaks for itself. Tom Petty Radio is carrying the torch. Adria is continuing on. You guys are all releasing new, not new albums, but just incredible. Yes, incredible songs that are being released. I mean, that is to me is magical to see all the new things that are coming, and even I don't know if you watch football. My boyfriend, right? I mean, the whole stadium itself in Florida. That brings you to tears.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can't really make this shit up, It was it's a dream beyond a dream. Things just happened, and I don't know, it's a mystery why us, and I don't know. It's just Tom had an ability to write certain types of songs that people could relate to, and our band had a way of realizing them to sound a certain way that people connected with. And we didn't know, we're just trying to do good work, and it just all happened for us. We're very blessed.
Yeah. I recently interviewed Ryan Ulate, and, he did a bunch of the albums with you guys, and, he could never pinpoint why a certain song would be a hit, but it was like every song, there was something about it, and it was something different.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint it either, except that there's a unspoken connection between a song and the listener. And I think Tom, who wrote most of the words, I wrote a lot of the music with him, but he was the lyricist, and his stories and his characters were like real people. And I think when people heard him singing, you know, like I Won't Back Down, or You Don't Have to Live Like a Refugee, I think people just could relate to it. And anybody can write a song, you know, but to write something that people universally connect with in their own way is pretty magical. So, and I guess there's some luck involved, but, you know, with a little talent thrown in.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's, you know, there's all these one-hit wonders as we've known them to be. And then there's just someone like you and Tom who have had just success after success after success. And it really warms my heart. I'm so proud that I feel like I was there in the beginning, even though I was young, I still saw it all. I was a fly on the wall, so to speak. And it was incredible to watch.
You know, and what you said before, I think it really does hit to the root of what we're talking about. The Heartbreakers, you know, were basically, like I said, homeless, gypsy, scuffling musicians. And we didn't do it to get rich. We didn't ever think we'd get rich. And we did it because we love it. You know, and a lot of artists do it because they want to be on Instagram, or they want to be on MTV, or they want to be famous. We never did it for those reasons. And I think maybe that's why it has a resonance to it. You know,
Absolutely.
We were doing it for love, and we would have kept doing it whether we got famous or not, because that's just what we love. But I think that shines through, and that might be the secret to what longevity we had, was just coming from a pure place.
Absolutely.
You know, in my humble opinion.
And and I was going to say he was also a champion for the people and your fans in keeping the prices low of tickets and albums. And he fought.
Yeah,
what is it?
The record company every year they go, we're going to raise it $1. No, you're not. Or the ticket prices. We could get $30 instead of $15, and we would go, nope, keep it down where they can afford it. You know, we want our people there. It was a constant fight. You know, the corporation gets their fingers in there and they want to get greedy. But we never did that. And I'm proud of that.
I am too. I mean, it's amazing when you go up against a big company like that. You know, I'm sure he was probably frightened at some point and just was like, what am I doing? Holy crap. But it turned in his favor, and everybody got behind him, and because he was not wrong.
Yeah. God bless him.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I got to see you play at the Happy Face Music Festival in Simi Valley in 2022 with the Dirty Knobs. Yeah. I'm excited to talk about the Dirty Knobs.
Dirty little secret.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, my dad just texted me last night and said, make sure you tell Mike that my favorite song is Fuck That Guy. And I think that's everybody's favorite song. I think it's people's mantra, or not, what is it? Their song that they, you know, fuck that guy.
Well, I think I'm stuck with that one. It was a joke, really. But it's a fun song live. People sing along. They, like, once again, they relate to it because we've all felt like saying that to somebody in traffic or whatever.
Yeah.
At least once. So, you know, it's not much of a song, but it's an event to do it because everybody joins in and gets their anger out.
Yes, exactly. Fuck that guy. Exactly. And I was with my good friend Aaron Nolan Smith. We got to stand in the front row and wave to you and be right behind your little your valet, your doggy valet. And we got to see Jason Sine, Lance Morrison, and Stan Lynch on drums, which was iconic. And we had a blast.
Good, I'm glad.
Oh, we had such a good time. I have so many pictures, and you even got in on one of our pictures in the background. We turned around and did a selfie, and you were like in the background on stage.
Over the ham. Yeah.
We were crying. But your current comprised Dirty Knobs band is Lance Morrison on bass, Chris Holt on guitar and keys, and Steve Ferroni on drums. Can you tell the fans how it is for you performing with these incredible musicians, but also being on lead vocal and guitar?
Yeah, I'm getting comfortable with being the front man and singing, so-called singing. I'm more of a stylist, I guess, than a singer, as Roy Orbison would say. But I enjoy it, and as doing that, fronting, having to remember the lyrics and sing on pitch and engage the audience, it's a whole other game than just sitting back and playing guitar. And I have a lot more respect for what Tom was going through than I did back in the day. But I find I really enjoy it, especially connecting with the audience and talking to them and getting, in touch with them and getting their feedback throughout the set. And thank God I've got this great band. Chris Holt, our guitar player now, is just phenomenal. He's actually in the Eagles temporarily, backing for the guitar player. He's friends with Don Henley. That's where I kind of was a connection. Mm-hmm. And he loves the knobs, and he's a great vocalist. He can play all kinds of keyboards and guitar and all kinds of stuff. And then you mentioned Stan Lynch. Stan was kind enough to fill in for us on drums. Our original drummer, Matt Logg, left to join AC/DC, which is okay.
Oh, wow. Not a bad gig.
So we got a AC/DC and an Eagle in our band, But Stan did a handful of dates for us, which is really emotional to play again with him. And now I have Steve Ferroni, who really wants to be in the knobs, the knob mob, as we call it. Yeah. And so I've got him, who I have a brotherhood with, and Chris Holt, and of course Lance Morrison. We call him Crawdaddy. He's been the bass player all the way through. He's a loyal, amazing musician. And I'm just blessed again to have this new group, a second chapter of my life. And we have so much fun playing together. We have 3 albums. We're working on a 4th album. And we do shows, we do our songs, and we have a really beautiful audiences that come to hear us. But we also do 3 or 4 Heartbreaker songs that I might have co-written just for fun. And with Steve Ferroni on the drums, it's a real kick to do those now and then. And so I'm in a real good place to have them, and they're better than your average band, let me tell you. They're really, really good. And I don't take them for granted.
I agree. They were incredible. And let's not forget your amazing crew, and they've been with you from the beginning.
Most of them, yeah. Chinner, my roadie, he's like our mascot, Gin Mother. He takes care of everything. And then I have a sound man, Jimbo. And he's been with us for all through the Knobs era, and even overlapping to some of the Heartbreakers era. And they make it really easy for me, make sure all my gear works and that we sound right. And we have a new tour assistant named Holly Bynum, mm-hmm. who is just a wonderful person who keeps us all together and makes sure we all eat on time and get up on time and mm-hmm. get from point A to point B. So it's a great little family. It's a new family. We're not new anymore, but, the Heartbreakers was a family in its own way, too. We had extended crew that stayed with us for years. And the Knobs are carrying on that tradition.
That is really awesome to hear. And, and you have, speaking of your family, you have kids, but I think your kids have kids.
I have grandkids. Yeah, 3 grandkids. I'm very proud of that. They're all 7.
Awesome. They're all 7? Okay.
Mm-hmm, about the same. Twins that were born on the same day, and then that's my daughter's kids.
Okay.
And my son, 3 or 4 months apart from that, he had a son. So they're all about the same age, and they get along great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
If you are enjoying listening to Hidden History of Rock and Roll, please consider becoming a friend of the show on Patreon for only $5 a month. Your support will help deliver more excellent content. Plus, as a member, get your questions answered by the next legendary guest. Thanks for being the best part of Hidden History of Rock and Roll.
Okay, so, and just another thing that you're proficient and prolific, you've released a memoir, Heartbreaker. And my dad actually has a question for you.
Yeah.
He wants to know, he said writing his book, Tom Petty and Me, was one of the hardest things he's ever done. What was it like for you?
It wasn't hard because I had someone helping me. This guy, Ari Sertival is his name. He was the writer. I'm the talker mostly. I talked to the phone, and we met a few times, and he took it all down and put it into a readable form. And I got him through Jan Uhelski, who started Cream Magazine, who wrote our liner notes for the Knobs, a wonderful lady. And she knew Ari, and I didn't go looking for a book, you know. I'm not interested really that much in writing about myself, but she said that he would do a good job, and he really did, you know. So it wasn't hard because I mostly just talked, you know, as chronologically as I could, and gave Ari, you know, all the stories I could remember. And it was emotional, though, you know. A lot of things, when you write I guess it's called a memoir. I didn't think of it as a memoir, but it is my life story. And you start to feel the age, the years of all the when you relive all the things you've done, start talking about them. And some of it, like, you don't remember, you start talking about it. It's like, wow, I did that and that and that and that. How did I do all that stuff? Well, because you lived a long time.
Yeah.
So I feel my age when I did it, but in places it was emotional. You know, talking about Tom dying was hard, and losing Howie Epstein, our bass player, to drug addiction along the way. There's some poignant moments of loss, but mostly the book. It's not a sex, drugs, and rock and roll book. I'm not even interested in that. Mm-hmm. But it's a book about the creative spark and dreams coming true, and it's all about that. It focuses more on the spirituality of a musician, and not the, as you say, the dirty little secrets. There may be. No, I've already forgotten them all by now.
Yes, you got to get those down.
But it's. I think you will like the book. Your dad is well represented in there, and
that's great.
It captures a guy's life playing guitar and then having dreams come true, and all the people I've met. The main thing that was impressive too to me was remembering all the luminaries that I met and worked with along the way, from Bob Dylan to George Harrison, Roy Orbison, Roger McGuinn. You know, so many of these people, Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, all these heroes of mine that showed up along my life's journey and inspired me and made me feel so ridiculously blessed to have these people that I looked up to and dreamed about to actually come and want to work with me. And what I got from that's all in the book. So there's a lot of people that pop up along the way like, oh my God, he knew him. Or the Fleetwood Mac tour that I did, you know, that was totally unexpected. It just came out of nowhere and dropped in my lap right after Tom passed away. So that's, you know, Stevie, of course, Stevie Nicks and all. I couldn't list all the people that I worked with, but it all came out in the book, and it kind of reminded me how lucky I'd been.
Yeah.
So it was hard. No, it wasn't really hard. I know if I'd had to write it down myself, it would have been, because that's the physical part of it. What is going to be hard is our audio book. I've got to read the damn thing into a tape.
Yeah.
So that's going to be work. But so far, it's just been me just talking like I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Somebody else go do it.
Yeah. Someone else types it all out, listens and continues and edits the editing. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It was a lot of work and for him, and he self-published as well. So that was hard. But yeah. So when you think about the song, like a Don Henley song that you did, Heart of the Matter, that one to me just sticks in my head all the time. What was that like working with Don?
Well, working with Don was a miracle. It came out of nowhere through Jimmy Iovine, hooked me up with Don because Don was looking for a song. I gave him this song I had that he wrote Boys of Summer to. And then we did another song called Heart of the Matter later on. And I did the music and he wrote the lyrics and the melody. And it's a very, I saw Don do that song at the Forum, and he had a full choir up there to sing the forgiveness choruses. And it was very tear-jerking in a way. It's a very deep song. And I think a lot of people can relate to it. Forgiveness. We all need forgiveness in certain situations. And the song really touches on the feeling of that. Don's brilliant. I have nothing but praise for Don, what he did with my 2 tracks. And we did another song too. It was a deeper track, but those 2 really stand out, Did
you have any idea of the magnitude that was coming that you're talking about now?
No. Well, I'll tell you how it happened with Boys of Summer. We worked really hard. He was under the gun to finish it, and we were working real fast to try and finish it in the studio. And then, because he had to rush it off to the record company. And so 2 days later, after he turned it in, I was out by Pierce College out in the valley jogging, and I had my little Walkman on, and KLOS played Boys of Summer. And I was going, wow, that's cool. They played it 3 times in a row. They never do that.
Wow.
So I knew, okay, that's serious business. So I ran home to Marsh. He said, Marshy, I think we're going to be okay. And song, it just, like, once again, one of those songs that it has a feeling in it that connects on some universal level. And I was just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It gets to the heart of the matter. And then the Boys of Summer is incredible. And I had a question for Ryan recently on my last episode. How do you know when you're done with a song? How do you know you're finished?
Well, when the tapes are full, when all the tracks are full up, done. Jeff Lynne was funny. Jeff Lynne loves to record, and he would get real upset when we finished. Like, can't we keep recording, overdubbing on it? Let's just keep working on it, because you do want to hold it close. But when it's done, it kind of goes, there's no room for anything else. It says what it has to say, and hope people like it, and you put it out, But it is kind of like letting your kid out, just sending them off to college and hope that they make it.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite songs of any of the songs that you've done?
Oh God,
yours are
lots. Well, the obvious ones: Refugee, Here Comes My Girl, Woman in Love, which I co-wrote. Heart of the Matter, Boys of Summer with Don. Mm-hmm. There's a deep track, a Heartbreakers track that I wrote with Tom. It was on Into the Great Wide Open. The song's called All or Nothing. That's one of my favorite songs we ever did.
Love that song. And
of course, You Wreck Me. I should have known it. I like the rockers with the guitar riffs. We have a lot of those. It's hard to pick one.
Right.
I guess if I pick one, it would probably be Running Down a Dream. Because it has kind of all the elements, the riff, the solo, the words, the chorus, and the feel.
Yeah, imagine being a last DJ and trying to pick 5. I mean.
Well, I like all my children. Which like best? Well, oh.
There's no way. I know. I love you all equally. You're all the same in my eye. Yeah, I did a last DJ with my boyfriend, Neil Bird, and we had such a tough time. But my favorite track was Swingin' and It's Good to Be King live at the Fillmore. And that song just really gets me, especially live, because you guys kind of go low and then keeps going.
What song are you talking about?
The It's Good to Be King live at the Fillmore. Yeah.
Live at the Fillmore,
Yeah.
That was a jam. We would stretch it out live.
That was my dad was at every show.
Oh,
at the
those
Fillmore.
Were great. Some of the best Heartbreakers playing because we were loose. We changed the set every night. It was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool venue.
Oh, yeah. It had to be incredible. And just to harken back to our original, my lead-in for you about the Tassie Fund, you guys started that when, and how did that come about?
It came about because my wife, Marcy, started a dog kennel daycare business called Bow Wow Bungalow back in the 1800s. I don't know. But we got a facility in Burbank for her, and she ran this business for like 15 years or more and built the brand up. And we've always loved dogs. We met through a dog, which is a story in the book about that, but I won't go into that. But we love dogs, and so she had this business. And through the business, she met this lady, Leilani Laka, who is also a dog lover. Mm-hmm. And she had the idea of starting a charity for dogs that needed surgery and no one could afford the money for it, or dogs that needed a home, just to help, bad situations get better. And that's what the Tassie Fund grew out of. And we've kept it going for a while. And, I do fundraisers for it from time to time, and it serves a good purpose, And it's non-profitable. It's all for charity.
Yeah, that's amazing. You guys actually helped me. Leilani helped me with my dog, Kobe.
Oh, good.
He had a stroke, and I didn't know what was going on, and he lost the use of his back legs, and she got him into a doctor in Santa Monica and was able to see him. And fortunately, there was nothing they could do. and it was totally out of, our, anything we could do. And Leilani talked me through and got me, through that, and told me the best thing I could do for him was, the obvious.
You know her. She's a big-hearted person, and dogs, pets. Marcy and I have lost several pets over the years. It's never good to lose them. It's always gut-wrenching, but they bring you so much joy, and I'm glad that you were able to see the Tassie Fund in operation. But the thing about dogs, is I read this in some book somewhere that, dogs come into your life and they have a job to do, and they have a certain amount of years to do it in. And when their time is done, their work is done. And you have to just be grateful for the time you had with them, let them move on, and another dog will come in and maybe in some way fill that gap in your life and do their job for you for a while. And that's the beauty of dogs. I mean, they really are a gift. So I'm proud to be part of the Tassie Fund.
It is something to be very proud of. And I just recently, a year ago, lost my Bella, and that was tough. And she was 13. Turning 14, and I got her originally for my kids, and she became my dog immediately. But it's just it's heartbreaking, and I do totally relate to what you just said. To your point, they come here to do a job, and I felt that, and it was like she knew she was done, and she knew it was her time, and it really, what you said rings true.
I also think, without getting too deep, I think dogs, I'm not going to get religious about it, but dogs are a gift. And I think, people go through their lives, and at some point you're going to lose, people, relatives or friends or whoever. And grief, losing someone, the grief is so hard. But with a dog, they kind of give you lessons and on how to deal with the grief, and you get to practice with the process. And so when it happens to a person, you're a little more maybe prepared for the process. But let's not get too dark. But dogs are amazing.
They are amazing, and they are there for you. I mean, my Kobe would lay on me when I wasn't well, and he would hold my hand literally with his paw.
Yeah, it's a gift. Somebody told me once, it's like if you believe in God, which I do in my own way, but that God created the world, and he looked at it and he goes, God, this world is really bad. I better make something to make it easier for all these people. I'll make a dogs.
I love
so
that.
He came to help us cope with the harshness of life at times.
I totally agree with that 100%. And then, so I didn't mention that your book, you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target. Is there any other places that you know of? There's the Audible that'll be coming out.
It'll be in the bargain bin at Walmart before long. No. I don't know. It'll be out there. Publisher, I was lucky to get a really good publisher. I didn't have to deal with searching for a publisher. They came through, BMG came through with a good finance for it, and they're really excited about it. They think it's going to do really well. So I got my fingers crossed. Once it's out there, it's out there,
I don't think there's any fingers being crossed, because I think you have that gift that has kept on giving for you, and it's just this wild thing. But you have so many loyal fans that really want to know more about you, and this is part of why I'm doing my podcast. My dad wanted to write a second book, and it's a lot of work, so we did this podcast, and then I just kind of thought, we got to keep going. There's so many stories.
Oh, I will say this about my book. Like I said, it's not a rock and roll, dirty book at all. My life is not like that. But the book that I wrote is about redemption and hope, and that's at the end of the book. If you make it to the end, it hopefully will give you a feeling that life can be beautiful and it's worth living. Yeah. And that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. And that's what you exude that. And I think, I can see that with your marriage, your 49-year marriage, and how, Marcy, the love between the two of you is evident, and people see that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I do have some fan questions if you'd like to answer some. So my first question is from my concert buddy, Erin Nolan Smith. She's in Chatsworth, California. She says, I really miss Mike doing shows at the Troubadour. I would love for the Knobs to do a residency there like Mudcrutch did. Do you have any Troubadour-centric stories or memories from your time playing there?
Well, yeah, the Troubadour is a very special place. I was actually toying with the idea of when I have a 50th anniversary, to have a party there. But we did some Christmas shows there for a couple of years and had different guests come up, and it was really fun. But then the partner I was working with, it got a little political and became unpleasant, so I quit doing that. The Knobs have played the Troubadour. We did a live video there without an audience once, and I would like to go back. You might be too big for the Troubadour now. I don't know.
You're never too big.
But it's tiny. It's tiny, but it's got so much spirit, and I appreciate that question. I love the Troubadour too. I always like going in there.
Yeah, Erin is a big fan of yours and was so excited to bring me to the Knobs and Simi Valley. And I was not feeling well, and she got me out, and it was the best time I'd had in a long time. Yeah.
Well, good. It was a really fun gig, and it wasn't well put together, but we're playing nice theaters now, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And so then my second question comes from Barbara Jean Jordan, who you've met. She's in Tucson.
I know that name.
Yeah, she said, I've had the opportunity to meet Mike and Marcy and the Knobs probably a dozen times over the years, and each time I think my heart is going to explode. She asks, artistically speaking, how would you like to see the Dirty Knobs evolve musically?
Well, organically. With the Dirty Knobs is a rock and roll band. It's an outlet for my songs, mostly. And we've already achieved what I planned out to do with them was to get to the level of theaters, get out of the biker bars and get to where we can play some, 2, 3, 4,000 seat theaters, which I love the sound. And that's kind of where we're at now. We do the odd opening show here and there in the bigger places, like we opened for The Who at the Bowl that time. And I think this summer we're doing a few more shows opening for Chris Stapleton, my friend. But I've already kind of got them to the level. I mean, I can't see them becoming like headlining the Madison Square Garden. I don't think that's in the works for me. But at the level we're at now is really, I feel like it's successful already because that's where I wanted to be, in respectable theaters with good sound and have fun and have people come to see us, not opening for somebody else all the time. So we've accomplished that. And musically, I have so many songs I write all the time, and we're just keep recording those songs and trying to get better. You're always trying to get better, Yeah. But it'll always be a rock and roll band. We might evolve into some different artistic avenues here and there, but it kind of comes down to it. We're just a boogie band.
You guys do. You guys really do rock on stage. And you did have a song with Stan that he came out and sang with you at the end. It was just your a cappella on the microphone. And I think that was a song that you guys played with Tom.
Stories We Could Tell. Yeah, it's a John Sebastian song, which I've always loved. It's like one of the best songs about being on the road as a musician that I've ever heard. And Tom used to sing it sometimes with the Heartbreakers. And so when Stan came on board, I thought it would be a nice moment for him and me to just do the duet and bring the song down to the two voices and one guitar. And it was really sweet. The song speaks for itself. And Stan and I got to sing together. It was just really fun.
Yeah. I mean, for us out there, for me, I shed a tear watching it just because of the message.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And to see you two singing together was incredible.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had such a good time at that show.
Oh, I would mention that song we were just talking about. There's a great lyric in there about, if this all blows up and goes to hell, I wish we could sit back in some motel and sing the stories we could tell. What a great thing. It really applies to everything,
It does. It really does.
Especially LA.
Oh, God. I can't even talk about that. It's really tear-jerking. We do pray for everybody in LA because we are LA residents. We may be transplants, but this is our home. And we do pray for everybody that has been affected by the wildfires.
Having to abandon their cars, and think of all the pets too. What happened to all of them? I hope they all made it out. But it's surprising. I don't want to belabor this, but it's pretty intense. I mean, it's a historical moment in LA. It's never had anything this bad before, and fortunately, and I hate for anyone to die, but fortunately, the death toll has been pretty low considering what a nightmare it was. So there's a little silver lining there.
There's a lot of silver linings. For the people that survived. Yeah, and we think that we may have escaped. The building may still be standing of Neil's daughter and her fiance where they live. We're hoping. So
I think the Getty Center almost got taken down, but a lot of places get through. But boy, when you see it on TV, people that are seeing this won't know. Right now, we're going through this LA fire catastrophe that's overwhelming for all of us that live there. It's pretty out of the world, but they'll rebuild. And we'll get through this. Yeah. Rebuild like Maui did. Maui went through it, and a lot of places do.
Yeah,
keep on going.
Yeah, and we did it from the earthquake. You and I both went through that, and
right.
We thought that was the most horrific thing at the time. It was.
Yeah, that's true. Earthquakes don't scare me anymore. After that one, it's just like, gosh.
Yeah, exactly. This is just a little, tinker toy ride.
Castrophonic here.
Yeah. And I hear you have a little rooster behind you, it sounds like.
A little what?
It sounds like you have a rooster behind you.
There's roosters all over at Kauai. India, come here. My dog's here. India. Travels with us. Come here, girl.
Oh, you're able to bring them without any quarantine or anything.
Yeah, she travels around the world with us.
Oh.
This is India.
Hi.
She's been to Europe. She's been to Canada, all over the States many times. I haven't. She comes out on stage sometimes.
What a cutie. Oh, that's sweet.
Hurrying across the stage.
Oh, my God. So, that must be insane.
It's all
about the animals. Yeah. I mean, you got to have them with you. They are just the best.
I wish you a lot of luck on your show. I think you've got a really good feel for it.
Thank you.
And your heart's definitely in it, so that counts a lot.
I love telling these stories. And I mean, you coming on is incredible. I know you're so busy, and it just is insane that you agreed to do the show. And you have the heart of just an amazing person. You have the heart of gold.
Well, John, that I'll always be grateful for what he did for us. I've not forgotten.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and how much he loves you guys, and he loved Tom, and it's like yesterday, and I just feel so blessed that we were all able to connect, and as he says, serendipitous.
There you go. Yeah.
That's his favorite word. It was serendipitous. Say that again. I'm so sorry.
Mysteries. We don't know why, but we're grateful that it happened.
Yep. And like you said, to your point earlier, you said you don't know why us, but it happened, and it was wonderful.
Stay healthy. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. And please, again, give Marcy a hug and a kiss for me. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to read your book.
Well, thank you.
We hope you enjoyed the latest installment of The Hidden History of Rock and Roll. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on all the podcast platforms. Thanks for listening to The Hidden History of Rock and Roll with your host, Tiffany Scott.